Welcome to my journey through the Bible. This will be applications that we can apply to our life from Genesis 37, 1 through 36. So we see that Joseph was his father's favorite. And he gives him this coat of many colors. So a coat would have been what everybody had. They would have used their coat to wrap up and keep warm. They would use it to bundle up their belongings and carry them with them on a long trip. They would have used it to wrap up a baby. They would have used it to sit on to eat, or maybe even to use it as a loan to someone that, here, I'll give you my cloak and then I will come back and get it whenever I've done whatever I told you I would do. Most of the coats were probably fairly short and maybe knee length. They would have been very plain. So Joseph's, when I picture it, is probably very long sleeves and down to his ankles. It's of many colors, so this would have made Joseph stand out, maybe even like royalty. So favoritism in the family is very destructive. As parents, you may not can change the fact that you feel closer to one child than another, but you can minimize the effects of that favoritism. And the way you do that is, if you allow one child to play sports, you allow them all to play sports. If you buy one child a car, then you buy them all a car when they turn of age. You try to keep the treatment the same. That's how you minimize all the effects of favoritism. And Joseph having this coat would have put a strain on the relationship between him and his brothers. Now, maybe Jacob wasn't thinking about that. He just thought, oh, I love this son, I'm going to give him this. But from the brother's standpoint of view, they already knew that their father loved him more. It was stated in there, which means there was lots of evidence showing that he loved Joseph more than them. Giving Joseph this coat just kind of put the icing on the cake, so to speak. It just added that fuel to the fire, that here's another evidence showing that our father loves him more than us. And then the hatred begins to grow. And then they begin to want to kill their brother. Now, part of that hatred comes from jealousy. And jealousy, when it gets out of control, will cause us to do all kinds of crazy things. So it's better for us to nip jealousy in the bud as soon as we get it. And the reason we know, or when we know that jealousy has become a part of it, is when we start taking score. I didn't get that. Mom and Dad only bought me this thing, but they bought 5 things over here for this one. And when you start seeing yourself taking score, then you know you're starting to get jealous, and that can lead you down a very dangerous path. So at that point, it's very important to get on your knees, pray to God, give it to Him, and try to be happy for what the other person has, even if they have more than you. Don't let jealousy get out of control. Another thing is, when they sold Joseph into slavery, I kind of picture it the way they show it in the movies sometimes, that here you put shackles on their hands and their feet and they're walking. And this probably would have been close to a 30-day journey. So Joseph is walking in heat and sand and with these shackles, which I'm sure would bruise his wrist and his ankles. Now, Joseph gets sold a second time when he gets to Egypt. which that can really put a damper on your self-esteem. So God uses the mistakes and things that we make in our life to make us stronger. And even though, as we read, Joseph's brothers will bow down to him, but Joseph had to learn some hard and tough lessons beforehand. Now, sometimes when we tell our stories to our children of things we did when we were younger, they will use that against you. They may try to do the same thing you're telling them just because it sounds like fun, and I'm going to do it, and mom and dad did it, so they can't hold it against me now. So that's partly one of the reasons I don't share any of my past stories with my children. Now, on the other side of that, if it's going to help someone, I will. I had a daughter that lost her husband, and I shared my experience of losing my husband and the hurt and the pain from that. I had another daughter that dated a man that his actions were very questionable. So I shared with that daughter the actions of a man that I dated that was very questionable. And even though you love someone so much, your safety is very important. And even though you love them, it's better to get out early on before you get married than to wait till after you're married and you feel like there is no way out. I've had a friend that was going through a divorce and was very distraught over it. I told her about my past divorce. And it wasn't a thing to say, hey, yeah, I've had that thing happen to me too. It was a thing to encourage them and let them know that you're not alone in this walk. I've been there, and this is what I did. These are the steps that I took to get myself out of this situation. It's the steps I took for my heart to recover and to be repaired from the pain of a loss or from the pain of abuse. And it was to empower my girls and other people that I come across so that they know there is another path. There is something better that God wants them to be, and to also let them know that they're worth more than that. God values them, and they need to value themselves. So don't stay in a bad situation. That was never God's plan for us. So may God be with you in every way and in everything.